Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to today's explainer, guys, and a very special welcome to all our UPSC and state PCS aspirants tuning in. आज हम modern Indian history के सबसे pivotal moment को decode करने वाले हैं, the Revolt of 1857.
Now you might be wondering, क्या 1857 सिर्फ गुस्से में आए soldiers की एक mutiny थी? या फिर it was a massive volcano erupting after literally 100 years of relentless British colonial pressure? आज हम इस एपिक इवेंट के हिस्टोरिकल स्टेक्स को अनपैक करेंगे और समझेंगे कि आखिर ये सब स्टार्ट कैसे हुआ।
Here is a quick roadmap for all you note takers out there. First, we'll look at the pressure cooker, the root causes, then the spark, followed by the spread, the suppression, and finally the aftermath with the 1858 Act. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The pressure cooker, root causes. You know, revolutions rarely just happen overnight, right? They are the result of years and years of boiling pressure.
If we look at the political climate, the British East India Company was systematically snatching away the independence of Indian rulers. शुरुआत हुई वेल्सली के subsidiary alliance से और पीक पर पहुंचा डलहौजी की notorious doctrine of lapse के साथ. Just look at the timeline. Satara in 1848, Jhansi in 1853, Nagpur in 1854. And the ultimate insult, annexing Awadh in 1856 on completely bogus grounds of misgovernance. Add the absolute humiliation of Mughal Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar to that, and you can clearly see why the political elite was completely alienated.
And this brilliantly illustrates the economic devastation happening right at the grassroots level. The British introduced three main land revenue systems: permanent settlement, Rayatwari, and Mahalwari. But honestly, system chahe jo bhi ho, the end result was exactly the same: astronomical revenue demands that pushed our peasants straight into the deadly trap of moneylenders. ऊपर से, British free trade completely destroyed traditional artisan trades, and the Bombay Inam Commission ruthlessly confiscated thousands of landlord estates. It was total financial ruin.
On top of all this economic pain, there was a deep socio-religious anxiety brewing. The British were operating with rampant racism and a massive superiority complex. You had aggressive Christian missionary activities, taxes being slapped on temple and mosque lands, and the Religious Disabilities Act of 1856. All of this created real fear among the masses कि उनका religion under attack है. Even social reforms like the sati ban, or widow remarriage, which we see as progressive today, were viewed back then as forced foreign interference.
अब आते हैं military causes पर. Remember, sepoys were essentially just peasants in uniform. उनके अंदर सिविलियंस वाला सारा गुस्सा तो था ही, पर आर्मी के अंदर उन्हें इंस्टीट्यूशनल रेसिज्म भी झेलना पड़ता था. Promotions were basically blocked for Indians and salaries were terribly low. Then came the General Service Enlistment Act, making it mandatory to cross the CF required, which was a massive religious taboo at the time. Top it off with the removal of their foreign allowance, or bhatta, in Sindh and Punjab, and the sepoys were absolutely furious.
Which brings us to Section 2, the spark. The pressure cooker was completely full, guys. बस एक चिंगारी की जरूरत थी.
और वो चिंगारी थी, the newly introduced Enfield rifle. To load this weapon, soldiers had to actually bite off greased cartridges. And the rumor spread like wildfire that this grease was made of cow and pig fat. For both Hindu and Muslim sepoys, this was the ultimate breaking point. They firmly believed this was a deliberate British conspiracy to destroy their faith and caste.
This collective outrage found a powerful voice in a young soldier from the 34th Bengal Native Infantry in Barrackpore. Mangal Pandey defied his officers, boldly declaring, "We are soldiers, not slaves. This grease is an insult to our faith." His daring attack on March 29, 1857, and his subsequent execution on April 8 sent massive shockwaves through the entire military. Just see how rapidly this escalated step by step. I mean, sure, there was an early mutiny in Barrackpore back in 1824, but Pandey's defiance literally lit the match. On May 9th, 85 sepoys in Meerut refused the cartridges and were thrown in jail. The very next day, May 10th, the Meerut garrison rebelled, broke out their friends, and marched straight to Delhi. By May 11th, they declared the aging Bahadur Shah Zafar as the Emperor of India. A localized mutiny had instantly snowballed into an open revolutionary war.
This naturally takes us to Section 3. The spread, centers, and leaders. Let's see exactly who stepped up and where.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we can systematically break down the key northern epicenters. In Delhi, Zafar was a symbolic head, but the real military command was with General Bakht Khan, facing off against the British officer John Nicholson. Over in Kanpur, Nana Sahib and his brilliant commander Tatya Tope fought Colin Campbell. And in Lucknow, following that unfair Awadh annexation, Begum Hazrat Mahal led a fierce resistance against Henry Lawrence.
Mapping the spread further, in Jhansi and Gwalior, the legendary Rani Lakshmibai clashed with General Hugh Rose. In Bihar, Kunwar Singh from the royal house of Jagdishpur took on William Taylor. And in Bareilly, Khan Bahadur Khan led the charge. The sheer diversity of these leaders, literally ranging from a 22-year-old queen to aging landlords, really shows you just how widespread this anti-British sentiment actually was. Among all these incredible leaders, Rani Lakshmibai's iconic battle cry, "I will not give my Jhansi," remains a powerful symbol of resistance even today. When her adopted son's rights were denied because of the doctrine of lapse, she absolutely refused to back down. She fought valiantly and ultimately attained martyrdom near Gwalior at Kota Ki Sarai. Stories of bravery like hers deeply humanize the immense sacrifices of this revolt. Moving right along to Section 4, the suppression and failure. Despite unmatched bravery across North and Central India, by the end of 1859, this massive uprising was largely crushed. So, why did it fail?
If we objectively analyze the strategic shortcomings, the rebels were working with very limited resources and outdated weapons. The spread of the revolt was highly localized and uncoordinated. Leaders were mostly fighting for their own specific territories rather than a unified national vision. On top of that, the educated middle class, wealthy merchants, and several prominent samandars either stayed neutral or remained loyal to the British. That really broke the overall momentum.
Exploiting these exact weaknesses, the British systematically started reclaiming cities. Using their superior resources, like telegraph lines, and siding with specific Indian factions, they slowly choked out the rebellion. Delhi fell first, then Kanpur, then Lucknow. Eventually, by the end of 1859, even the last pockets of resistance in Bihar and central India were fully suppressed, and the British regained full control. Finally, we reach Section 5, the aftermath. 1858 Act. The British might have won the military battles, but they realized the hard way that their entire system of ruling India had to fundamentally change. This caused a complete administrative earthquake. Pre-1857, India was ruled by the British East India Company, under a governor-general. But post-1857, the Government of India Act 1858 transferred power directly to the British Crown. The era of the company was over for good. Queen Victoria was now the direct ruler, represented by a viceroy, and a brand new India office was set up in London. The military was also radically redesigned specifically to prevent another unified uprising. They completely destroyed the dominance of the Bengal army, drastically increased the ratio of European to Indian soldiers, and kept vital artillery strictly under British control. Politically, they abandoned the doctrine of lapse and guaranteed the survival of the remaining princely states, securing them as loyal allies for the future. They also learned a massive lesson about socio-religious interference. Queen Victoria's proclamation made a formal promise to protect the religious beliefs, ancient customs, and honor of the Indian people without forced interference. The British finally understood that messing with deeply held traditions was a step too far, which led to a long policy of cautious appeasement.
So how do historians actually classify this massive event? Well, early British officials like John Lawrence, and even contemporaries like Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, considered it strictly a mere sepoy mutiny. On the flip side, nationalist historians like V.D. Savarkar, Ashok Mehta, and Jawaharlal Nehru framed it as India's first war of independence. Without taking sides here, modern research generally agrees that while it may have started as a military mutiny, it rapidly evolved into a mass national awakening against foreign rule.
And that brings us to the end of today's explainer. I want to leave you with a powerful thought. How do you view the legacy of 1857 in shaping the minds of future freedom fighters like Gandhi, Subhash Chandra Bose, and Bhagat Singh? It may have been militarily suppressed, but this spark absolutely laid the foundation for our ultimate independence movement. Keep studying hard, review these notes, and we'll see you next time.